Morning, folks. Does God still heal? Does Jesus still heal? What about the man born blind? As we read in John chapter 9. We'll get to that in a minute or two here. Back to Matthew chapter 4. Remember, we had just read about the temptation of Jesus, his baptism and his temptation, and then he begins his ministry. And he calls his first disciples. Begin reading there from verses, chapter 4, verse 18 to 22. He calls his disciples. And then 23 to 25. Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all kinds of sicknesses and all kinds of disease among the people. Then his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought to him all sick people who were afflicted with various diseases and torments, and those who were demon-possessed, epileptics and paralytics, and he healed them. Great multitudes followed him from Galilee and from Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and beyond the Jordan. So he went about preaching, repent for the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and healing. So does God still heal today? Why are some people healed and some aren't? Why do people die? I was born legally blind. It wasn't my fault, it wasn't my parents' fault. You might say, oh, I don't have enough faith. I didn't live a good enough life, whatever. My dad actually went to a healing service one time. He was told, hey, you don't need those glasses. Take them off. It didn't help. And years later, he passed away and still was legally blind. So what about that? And, I'm thankful. Many times I wish that my eyes were much better, that I didn't have the neuromuscular condition known as Charcot-Marie tooth disease. I just found out that me and my younger brother Fred, we both just discovered we have 2 new genes. Good. That's fine. It's all in God's hands. So John chapter 9, the disciples were passing by, and there was a man born blind from birth. And they asked, so who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And Jesus basically answered, neither. It was done so that God's plan would be fulfilled, God would be glorified. And so, so now God is glorified. Apostle Paul said that strength was found in his weakness. And the weakness that he had this thorn in the flesh. We're not sure what it was. And before I forget, yes, Jesus was prophesied to bring light into the world. And that's in Isaiah 9, verses 1 and 2. Light into the world is spiritual light. Light to men's darkened souls. Jesus said he is the light of the world. So now back to healing. As far as eyesight, it's really better to have spiritual eyesight, to have your eyes open toward God. And you can still glorify God with bad eyesight, with being a paralytic and so on. You say, why? Well, how can that happen? Well, it may be difficult, but God will help you through that. And just thinking of John chapter 9, the man born blind, yes, he was healed. And yes, he was then booted out of the synagogue. The Pharisees were very critical of him. But so does God heal? Yes, he may heal through doctors, through medication. And the ultimate healing is to bring you to glory and have a glorified body. Think about that. So just a few of my thoughts this morning on healing. Feel free to share your comments below, and I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you would hit the like button, that shows YouTube that that there's people who want more content like this, and do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll talk to y'all later.